to hear what people have to say here, particularly about the budget. I have to say that so far a fairly mixed reaction is what we've got. But I've got a few new guests to talk to me, and particularly interested in Claire Allen, who runs Santos Day Nursery, because obviously there's big announcements about nursery. So the first thing is, can you cope with this massive influx of potential parents for children who you might have because of the new free provision?
Not really. There's going to be a massive influx, and you know, there's no room for extension. We would need extra funding for extension, which is not there. But the extra funded places just mean it's not going to cover the costs of running our nursery either. You know, nurseries are really suffering. The funding money doesn't cover the costs, staffing costs, resources we need to educate the children. You know, all this is going to have a negative impact on how a nursery can run, really.
So I've been talking to business earlier on saying, oh, it actually really help us if we can get more people back into the workplace, because then nursery costs are going down for them because it will be cheaper. But actually you're saying the problem is there's just not the infrastructure there in the first place to cope.
It's not. It's fantastic, you know, that this is happening. It's helping families, people to get back into work, but putting money, lots of money into something that, you know, if nurseries have to close, that there's not going to be anybody to even run these places, you know, is a bit pointless, really. You know, my nursery is predominantly a privately paid nursery, so if I take on more funded places, I lose money, the nursery loses money, and businesses have already been shutting, and particularly around Sandwell, you know, nurseries have shut because they just can't sustain the costs.
Okay, well, thanks very much for the moment, Carl Austin from Shimla Gin, distilled locally in Sandwell, in Smethwick. So, Carl, just tell us a little bit about what you made this. You're a startup, you're doing quite well, you've got a high profile locally. What will you take out from the budget today?
Well, as an industry, we're a manufacturing company. We make gin and rum. And we're reasonably small. So the key points are the fiscal ones. The corporation tax going from 19 to 25 as a small company is neither here nor there. The recovery of capital investment is really just a restatement of what was there before, and repackaged, holding what was the super deduction from the previous 2 years. So no change. Helpful? No change. From the excise point of view, that's good for the beers in pubs, but it doesn't help anybody else. And the rest of the hospitality industry didn't get a lot of the other benefits that it was looking for, support that it was looking for, like support with engaging apprentices.
So not the great budget.
Everything depends upon how people feel.
Yeah.
Do people feel
And you wanted more for that sort of trying to boost the high street as well in the hospitality industry, which you feel you've got. Ninda Joe Howell runs the Business Influencer magazine, actually knows a lot of businesses in the Black Country. You had quite a few bullet points. Do you want to quickly rush through them?
Well, very quickly. So the DNA of this region is manufacturing and export. Didn't hear the word export. Remember, we're talking post-Brexit. So where's the export market going to be? Again, with Brexit, immigration, hospitality, people telling the supply chain they can't get the people. No mention of immigration or certainly reduction of quotas or increased quotas for certain sectors. Interesting, potholes, that was interesting. I don't know how that's going to affect anyone. But I think the other big thing was getting people into work. And you referred to the NHS, doctors, and increasing their sort of pension contributions. That was interesting. But in terms of levelling up, I heard the word bid. I don't like the word bids because that brings competition. And at the last round, most of the Black Country in the West Midlands lost out when it came to levelling up.
Well, there was good news for Tipton.
Oh, Tipton, fantastic news.
A few miles from here.
Fantastic news. But, you know, there is devolved powers, but I heard the word bid and you wonder, is this levelling up light? Where's the detail? And of course, as you know, it's the devil's in the detail.
One of the things that we were all talking about, and lots of other people have been talking about, that promise from the Chancellor that inflation, he'd get below 3% by the end of the year. But I haven't spoken to anyone yet who believes he can. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's various commentators said, you know, look, for business, we can't predict 3 months down the road. How you can predict at the end of the year what that looks like, and interest rates, I mean, how can you predict that? And what business always wants is certainty. And I'm not sure there was certainty. I think today was more of a pragmatic rather than a visionary budget. You know, it didn't take people with them. It was more pragmatic.
And inflation, if that dropped, that would help, surely, wouldn't it, do you think, in your business?
It calms people's emotions. It gives them a bit more hope, that is, more stability, as Ninda was saying.
So if that happens, if you can get it down, that might help too.
Yeah. But that's the nature of the beast.
But the big thing for you, Claire, is you need a bit more investment.
Need a bit more money into the businesses, yeah, to help to stay open and pay for, you know, the lots of costs, staff training, getting quality staff. Like I said, we're education, you know, we educate the children, we have to have resources to do that, and it's just not there, and it's not going to come if we have to provide more funded
So
places.
kind of mixed emotions, I think, from all of you today. Kind of a bit of good, bit of bad, bit of uncertainty, and actually, I suppose after the past year, with 3 prime ministers, I've forgotten how many chancellors, it becomes, you're really looking for stability, all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's achieved that in the sense it's a standstill budget. It's not an electioneering budget. That's for next year, when if he has another 15 billion, he will happily give that away to get the votes.
And I suppose finally, from an entrepreneurial perspective, there wasn't much there, and particularly the entrepreneurs' relief. Maybe that's for next year.
Okay, well, thanks very much for everybody here. Thanks to the exercisers who've been here all day. We've really worn them out, I have to say, here at your leisure centre today. Lots more reaction coming up on the budget, but now the weather with Chris Fawkes.